and originality. So, in conclusion, it is necessary for the media to be motivated by the development paradigm. As Bella is a veteran journalist in his 2017 article that the media must hold itself in high esteem and also stay above board if we are condemning corruption, which will also not be corrupt, on issues of good governance, the promotion of sanity in the society, the word of bias based on ethnicity, religion, and social status. The creed that facts are sacred and comment is free as a cardinal principle of the profession to also be observed at all times. The counsel that the media must refrain from jumping into conclusion on issues of critical national interest or affairs, and for them to spend the possibility of misinformation on negative stigmatization, which may unnecessarily heat up the polity. We have been heating up the polity as a result of the fact that our preferences are not leading. The question has also been asked on who watches the watchdog. The media is watchdog, but you media practitioners don't want to be watched. And that is ironic. You don't want to be regulated. The Nigerian Press Organization, which is the umbrella body for the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Nigerian Guild of Editors and Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, has often been frustrating the effective takeoff of the Nigerian Press Council to promote professional standard in the Nigerian press. Till today, 17 out of 39 clauses in the bill to amend the Act have been part of litigation since 1999, which means Nigerian journalists have been in force since 1999, trying to frustrate the coming on board fully of the Nigerian Press Organization that will regulate the practice of the media in Nigeria. No, this is not correct. Further proceeded that a situation where the operation of the media is left to views and campuses of upcomers and manners of investors is detrimental to the growth of media professionalism in Nigeria. The cost of national unity, peace, and national development also be put in jeopardy as a result of the practice. I am rounding up on the note of the fact that the Nigerian media gallantly fought colonialism. The Nigerian media courageously fought powerful military. Many of them were sent to jail, only Adedimeji and the rest. But with the advent of the Fourth Republic, the masses seems to have become, if you cannot be there, you have to join them. Everybody seems to be running after money, and the profession itself is being taken over by China. Those who do not know what the profession is all about. The proliferation of news sources and commercial even news has also weakened the media in way the web and social media is increasingly becoming a threat to the survival of credible media organization. Rather than to stand aloof, it will be that the discussion actually continues, that we have to be thinking of how to leverage technology to be able to present facts and news to people in the way that news information will be relatable and embraced by the media. I want to thank the MMWG for inviting me to share this with you, and I wish the group many happy returns of national conferences. I want to thank you once again for your attention, and as a media for our issues and perspectives are being present by Lord. I was also invited as a guest speaker. In this regard, I hasten to appreciate the National Coordinator, Ahman, a veteran media practitioner, and has stood Kwara in the vineyard of Dawa for this invitation and for his lifetime commitment to utilizing our media resources, for the advancement of the day. I equally appreciate the chairman of the board of trustees and doyen of legal practice in Nigeria, Mahfuz, for his remarkable contributions to the socio-economic well-being of the Ummah and humanity through his multi-layered interventions in the field of socio-educational and economic life as a society. acknowledge the luminous stars, and think the lacuna of the Nigerian Muslim woman here present and represented, from His Eminence the Sultan of Sokoto to His Royal Highness the Emir of Ilorin, and from the chairman of today's occasion to the Secretary General of the NCIA. I also recognize the functionaries and members of the flagship group, and I pray that the body continue to work stronger and stronger. If you will permit me, as let me modify the topic given to me, redefining the media for Nigeria's socio-economic prosperity. As redefining the media space for Nigeria peace and prosperity, this is because prosperity, in my view, is the condition of being successful and thriving economically, already entails socio-economic well-being. And given that becoming increasingly fragile in Nigeria and the world, and the media practitioners are contributing to this fragility and the ascendance of conflict, I consider this the noblest of all man endeavors as equally important. It is apposite that without this, socio-economic development becomes diminished, as it is being witnessed in Ukraine and other theaters of conflict in the world, especially in Africa and the Middle East. Introduction. Today's reality is that the media are a powerful tool that cannot be ignored by any serious-minded person. They are ubiquitous, and we see and feel them all around us. Our opinions, our views, our tastes are conditioned by what we see, what we listen to, and what we read in various media platforms. Yet, the general attitude to the media is that of ambivalence because of their vulnerability to be used, misused, and abused. The media are a double-edged sword that can be used to defend the society and at the same time destroy it. Perhaps no one captured this dilemma better than the American thinker and writer Mark Twain. He was acknowledged to have appropriately stated that if you don't read the newspaper, you are uninformed. If you read the newspaper, you are misinformed. In other words, the media posed the challenge of Catch-22. That is a confusing and difficult circumstance from which there is no escape as a result of conflicting and dependent conditions. This means that not paying attention to the media at all is failure, because nothing is faster than lack of information in an age where information has become the oxygen of civilization. At the same time, consuming media, especially the social media now, fills readers with a lot of misinformation, so that infodemic has become a malignant concern that is destroying the moral and social fabric of our modern society. Infodemic is a blend on information and epidemic, and it has been used to represent the opposite of fake news and anti-truth material. In the situation where we are torn between the devil and the good news, or between being informed, between being uninformed, ignoring the media, and misinformed, that the news everything the media tells us, it is apparent that the media and the media space have to be refined and redefined in the interest of the stakeholders and the public, so that there will be trust. This is why for us as Nigerians, repositioning the media is crucial and expedient, because we have seen the consequences of using media to bring passions. A case in point is the NSAS process of 2020, where the video of shooting a youth in the Delta State resulted in a protest to end police brutality in Lagos and other parts of the country. The youth were mobilized and sensitized through the media, especially the new media, and the consequences were extrajudicial killings, looting. I remember the first one that happened here in the lobby. Somebody riding a motorcycle went to the warehouse close to the airport to steal a bag of rice. Before he came back, his motorcycle was stolen. And that was good. Including looting, lasting burning of public and private properties, increasing security, and the near collapse of simple things. In this presentation, I attempted to construct the media and highlight its forms, while discussing the challenges facing the media in Nigeria, and at the same time, advocate for repositioning the media space to serve the interest of the nation, not just the private pockets of the media entrepreneurs and employees. Understanding the media. The media as a concept refers to the totality of organizations and agencies that provide information to the public, also referred to as mass media or mass communication. The media as a term connotes the art of transmitting ideas, opinions, words, attitudes from one person to some persons or the masses. That's like Hakim Fenei. Those who work in the media are journalists or the press or members of the press, and their job is to inform, to educate, to entertain, and set an agenda for the public. The media is traditionally print, newspapers, magazines, or electronic, radio, television. It has now also become digital, where you have online newspapers, podcast, radio, television, and internet-based channels, which combine the features of both electronic and print media. One thought-provoking and comprehensive definition of the media that I found interesting is the one cited in metaphoric terms by Little John and Force in their book, Theories of Human Communication. They define media as windows that enable us to see beyond our immediate surroundings, interpreters that help us make sense of experience, platforms for carriers that convey information, interactive communication that engages feedback, signposts that provide us with instructions and directions, filters that screen out part of experience and focus on others, mirrors that reflect ourselves back to us, and barriers that block the truth. It is the last one metaphors of conceptualizing the media. If the last one metaphors of conceptualizing the media are examined, there is every possibility of them eliciting different reactions or questions, especially within us in Nigeria. As signposts, if we ask ourselves, have the media generally, and the Nigerian media in particular, been providing the public with positive instructions and useful directions? Is it not clear that each media organization is biased towards the agenda of its owners and the sentiment of its operators? Why is it that to some media organizations there is nothing good in a government or a religion other than the one the media owners are interested in or affiliated to? As speakers that filter part of the experience and focus on others, have governments in Nigeria not been pilloried and attacked by those who want to screen out their achievements and rather project their failures as mirrors that reflect who we are? And Nigeria is not a reflection of the Nigerian media, just as a reflection of the Nigerian police. And all that is wrong with us is also wrong with our media. Are we tolerant of one another? Do we not attack one another on the basis of religion, ethnicity, and politics? Do we sincerely care and love one another? The last metaphor that construes the media and barriers that block the truth is pungent. Though truth is central to the duty of the media, and many media organizations actually have truth as part of their mottos. For instance, the motto of the Guardian is conscience nurtured by truth. This day, the motto, truth and reason. For the nation, it is truth in defense of freedom, etc. We've always been told the truth by the media. To what extent have the media linked to the overarching role that they are supposed to play, which is espoused by a foreigner internalism, like Mahfuz, who said the role of the media is to, quote, fight for progress and reform and never tolerate injustice and corruption. Always fight demagogues of all parties, whether PDP, APC, LP, never belong to any party. Always oppose the privileged classes and public plunderers, never lack sympathy with the poor, always devoted to the public welfare, never be satisfied with merely printing the news, always be drastically independent, never be afraid to attack on, whether by predating plutocracy or predating poverty. There are 8 basic different types of media: radio, television, film, books and recordings, newspaper, magazines, and the internet. And it is for that purpose that you have mass media. Other forms of the mass media are billboards, comic books, posters, directing markets, and buttons. These ones that have been indicated are the ones that control the largest audiences. Now, by the time we want to look at the significance and functions of the media, I recall that there was once a superiority contest between the teacher, I'm happy there are many teachers here, and the journalists, and we also have many journalists here regarding who practice the first profession. The teacher justifiably asserted that because the Almighty Allah taught Adam all the names, after which he directed him to also teach the angels. Teaching is the first profession. In Quran chapter 2, verse 21, the journalist, relying on the same argument, insisted that Adam only informed the angels of what they did not know, and he informed them with the next. That is Quran chapter 2, verse 32. The journalist argued further that the Quran to which the teacher made reference himself is described as great news. In Quran 38, verse 67, and that one can only ignore journalism as one's own peril. Further, as inside Islamic connectedness of the nation, arguing in the message column of March 22, 2013, page 36, that the two professionals are right because both journalism or the media and teaching are complementary. According to him, by teaching, the teacher informs, and by informing, the journalist, by which he has integrated the same basis of teaching and journalism in all practical senses. It is in this regard that it is incontestable. Journalism is not just one of the earliest professions in Nigeria, it is also the primordial one. The practice of which can be operationally said to precede life on earth. At the global stage, the significance of journalists or the media has been underscored by many world leaders and thinkers. While the French general Napoleon Bonaparte posited that first-time newspapers ought to be feared than 1,000 bayonets, the third American president, Thomas Jefferson, submitted thus: "Were it left to me to decide whether we should have a government without newspapers or newspapers without a government, I should not hesitate a moment to prefer the latter. I would rather have newspapers without government than to have government without newspapers." Functionally, we know that the media serve as agents of information, they serve as agents of education, as well as entertainment of the populace. They are also good as instruments of socio-political mobilization, molding public opinion, and setting agenda for the society. It is acknowledged that the media will also be agents of development by practicing development journalism that will see to the goodness of the society, peace by practicing peace journalism in which people are going to be conflict sensitive in their reporting and know the implication of reporting things that have not been verified or confirmed, security and prosperity in the society. Equally, 1978 discusses the functions of the media from the viewpoint of the news function, the education information function, the economic function, the opinion function, etc. And I've mentioned 10 functions here that the media serve as watchdogs. They also define reality, they widen horizons, they focus attention on issues, they raise aspiration and alleviate poverty, and they alleviate poverty and anxiety, they help in changing attitudes. They also confer status by those that the society to focus on. They broaden the policy dialogue, they enforce social norms, and they also inform, influence the formation of taste. Now, I move on to the section I refer to as the New World Order and the Dynamics of the Media. That Francis Fukuyama caused a stir in informed circles with the publication of his book, The End of History and The Last Man in 1992. In that particular book, Fukuyama suggested that there would be a single world of government dominated by Western political philosophy, and is submitted ultimately on the end point of mankind's ideological evolution and the universalization of Western democracy as the final form of human government, that without democracy there won't be any form of government acceptable. The profundity of Fukuyama's thesis generated a good response from his former study mate at Kwara, Samuel Hutchinson, the political science professor at Harvard University, who is in 1993 Foreign Affairs Journal article, developed his theory of the inevitability of the clash of civilization, that compulsorily civilizations must clash, and we must use the media to make civilizations clash at all costs. The article was an instant success, and it celebrated the journal in which it was published. Pategi eventually developed his ideas in great detail in his 1996 book, The Clash of Civilization and the Remaking of World Order. There, he had emphasized that there will be great divisions among humankind, and the dominating source of conflict will be culture. The principal conflict of global politics will occur between nations and groups of different civilizations. The clash of civilization will be the battle line of the future. That was in 1996. Beyond the horizon, Pategi was also nudging the West to wage war against other cultures. The media will play a prominent role in this war, as they will be used to set people against themselves, and then to demonize leaders, and then create conflict. When you remember the watch out Baghdad, remember Saddam Hussein, and it was only when Baghdad, Iraq was destroyed, and said, I'm sorry, we didn't have weapons of mass destruction. The same thing happened to Libya. Gaddafi was killed, he was attacked, until people got to see him as a very terrible person. To have a list of what Libya was under Gaddafi. The New World Order was subsequently articulated by the former American President George Bush in 1992, around the time Iraq was invaded, and then you have the New World Order. With the New World Order also came the New World Information Order. You realize that at the end of the day, just 1% of Americans control information sources that 95% of Americans are fed with. So the New World Disorder, according to Benedict Anderson, is operationally based on unwarranted suspicion, unprovoked attack, well-orchestrated propaganda, relentless violence, psychological terrorism, and totalitarian ruthlessness against the perceived enemies. In this ideological warfare, the template of which has been created right from the time it was said in the early 90s, boogeymen and villains will be created of paper, and people will be set against their governments. All sorts of lies will be told to the gullible, and the well-controlled public opinion will justify violent attacks on people of different cultural orientation. The following analysis provides a template for the understanding of our weird world in relation to our contemporary dynamics. Though every one of us was taught of such fanciful concepts like sovereignty, where does it really exist? Where the West is trying to impose homosexuality, actually forcing it down the throat of other countries. Remember, the Vice President was in Kenya. Freedom of expression. One African leader said, you have freedom of expression, but you cannot guarantee your freedom after your expression. International relations, human rights, and all other rights, such ideas are merely theoretical today. The reality of today is that the spectrum of war is spreading, and human beings are suffering, while conflict entrepreneurs are gaining. Both the traditional and the new media have been acknowledged to have played significant roles in stimulating the Arab Spring that started from Morocco. But after the violence and destruction, where is the country today? We have also seen the success of the social media in mobilizing protests and causing the collapse of government. Sorry, I wanted to say Tunisia. In Tunisia, as well as in Egypt. In spite of the death and destruction, what the citizens experience is often at variance with their idealistic expectations, and any violent overthrow of government will always end up with the government being taken control over by vested interests. And you realize that as more things change, the more they remain the same. There have been unsuccessful protests in Bahrain and Syria for more than a decade has remained a killing field, with life getting worse for those who are still surviving. Why? Because of the fact that we use the mass media to turn people against government. The media were used to harass the late Libyan leader, Muammar Gaddafi, and there were protests that eventually led to the collapse of his government as well as the country. Libya today is a vast wasteland, whereas the Libya that Libyans were going to reject was the one that in which electricity was free for all citizens. There was no interest on loans. Banks in Libya are state-owned, and loans were given to citizens at 0% interest rate by law. All the newly wedded couples in Libya received 60,000 dinars, equivalent to $50,000 by the government to buy their first apartment and to start up their family. Education and medical treatments in Libya were free. Before Gaddafi, only 25% of Libyans were literate. The figure rose to 83%, and the winner was declared by the relevant body, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Both the second and the third candidates in the election are claiming victory. Number 2 said, "I'm the winner." Number 3 said, "I'm the winner." And some of their supporters went to the extent of protesting for the defense headquarters in Africa, nudging the military to take over power. They have forgotten what the nation went through during the last battle to fight to take over power from the military. Some of the political and religious elites who are not satisfied that their candidates do not win are seeking to delegitimize the election, and they are making shameful calls for the winner not to be sworn in. It is unspeakable, thereby calling for anarchy. Some media, especially those of them that are electronic, are playing to the gallery by giving ample media time and space to the expression of such sentiments that border on sedition without properly reflecting on the implications of what they are doing for Nigeria. Will everything be sent into violence? It appears that those use and abuse the media to make the so-called Muslim ticket a distraction are unrelenting in making Nigeria restless because of their failed political ambitions and calculations. But when the media starts to find the embers of disagreement, everybody will suffer the consequences. I devote the next section to the discussion of the challenges facing Nigeria, facing media in Nigeria, and I identified about 9 things that I will just mention. The patterns of ownership, the ones owned by the government never say anything wrong in what the government is doing, and the ones that are owned by private people are also as any sentiment of their owners. People right here in Nigeria, when you mention a major newspapers, you can easily determine which political party they are sentimentally attached to. They talk of political pressure, I talk of propaganda, I talk of professional incompetence. What happens to the teaching profession also happens to journalism. Somebody finishes school, the person does not get a job, and then the next one, he ends up in the classroom, and then they give him 30,000 naira per month, no training. So somebody gets out of school, and then I put something, I can still do some work together, the person becomes a journalist. Then you have private interest. That is the powerful influence of the advertisers who determine the editorial policy. When the advertiser says, "You don't do this, I'm going to withdraw my support from you," and then they end up forcing the editors to do what they should do. Perception problem. People perceive the press as being corrupt, the brand envelope syndrome. And then I talk of what really our problem that is making many media practitioners now not to be lucrative any longer. One of the newspapers folded up recently. Many of us will know the newspaper, and it owed the journalist 25 months salary. Petronet crisis. People are not reading newspapers again. It is possible for a single social influencer like an actor to command more followers than what the entire Nigerian newspapers will circulate in a month. So, then, towards defining the media for peace and prosperity, there is no doubt that the media are powerful, but with the power comes utmost responsibility. The challenge of today is more heightened with the predominance of the social media and their propensity of steering emotions, spreading fake news, and promoting hate speech. We have to develop a policy of regulating what goes on the social media. There was a time that I decided not to go to Twitter again because I could not just bear the toxicity. Everything is about causes. And it is possible for children that are in secondary school to be cursing and accusing their grandfathers, and they go spot free. Every fake news we find it on Twitter, and we are going to find the online warriors fighting one another, and many of them are heroes for some of our politicians. First of all, for us to define the media for peace and prosperity, the welfare of journalists has to be accorded utmost priority. It is an open secret that some proprietors of media houses do not pay their staff, and they ask them to use their ID cards to fend for themselves. And the employee uses your ID card, go and swim or sink with it. How would that type of journalist not be corrupt? It is just going to be used for cash. This cannot engender good practice and prosperity. It will also compromise standards that we are also witnessing. Second, the new media should be fully understood and embraced by the media practitioners for their own survival. Some blogs, we know them, Mr. Blog, Adedimeji, Gist Global, they have more subscribers than all the newspapers in Nigeria combined. No journalist or media practitioner afford to take social media with levity for its own relevance, impact, and reach. The American social media entrepreneurs and journalists should be at the forefront of creating content that will add value to society, not living in wide and ungoverned space with the charlatans who only care about money. Go to Instagram, there are some people who are specialized in just naked dancing. There are some people who find small girls that are just going to be dancing, and that's why they are making money from. And all the responsible journalists have been put inside. No. Negativities appear to dominate the social media space because of the fact that trained mass communicators like Professor Sada Mulaki and academics, they are always not active on the social media because they cannot bear the heat. But they have to just try the way of them there so that people will have alternative sources to follow. Then, as part of repositioning or redefining the media space, journalists should develop themselves in multimedia media. It is no longer sufficient for somebody to just be in a hurry and be finding stories and sending the stories by email. The world has transcended that stage. This involves the acquisition of necessary skills that will integrate audio, video, photos, graphics together to their stories to make them more compelling. The media consumers for today are becoming lazy. When you see a single page, you say it is too long. Just tweets, that's what they want to read. As a result of that, we have to create innovative ways of getting their attention and how to stimulate their senses. It is good that some newspapers are working in this direction. When you go to their website, you are going to find a newspaper also integrating interviews, video interviews on their website in order to create connectivity with the audience. We also talk of graphics, infographics, take the plot. Daily Plus is doing a good job in that regard. Ownership by government and politicians will also be replaced with ownership by professionals. It is high time that journalists also put their resources together so that they will be independent. The media started in Nigeria as an offshoot of the government when the started in 1925. And it came to a time during the Obasanjo regime when Times was nationalized. People realized that journalists could no longer practice freely. That was what gave birth to what we found to as the free press. And the Vanguard came in 1984, and then we returned to democracy newspapers like This Day and The Nation also came on board. But the fact remains that ownership still plays a lot of roles, because when you say you want to be free from the control of the government, you are not free from the control of the proprietors, who are mainly politicians. So it will be very good as part of the positioning the media, for media practitioners themselves, the journalists, to put their resources together so that they'll be able to practice the profession the way it should be practiced. Two major online newspapers, Premium Times and The Paper, largely enjoy respect and following because of their professionalism. These media platforms were founded and operated by seasoned journalists, unlike the media where the interest of their proprietors stand in the way of professional standing. And refining the media space for peace and prosperity, there are the 10 things identified appertaining to journalists playing their roles as collated by more. Public interest, number one. It is the interest of the public that should be primary, not the interest of parties, not the interest of politicians, because politicians will always come and go, the people will always remain. Number two, truth and accuracy. Before we publish anything, we must establish the fact that it is true, and we must establish the fact that it is accurate. Verification. We are living in a world where people are always rushing. Nobody verifies any longer. But verification is an essential component of the media that currently doesn't seem to enjoy a lot of attention. Fairness. When you are reporting a person. Ethics, in fact, is one of the cardinal principles of journalism that you must hear from the other party. This is what this person has said about you, what you have to say about it. But you are still going to find many people publishing and saying that they try to reach the other party without succeeding. If you do not get the other party, why can't you just ban the story until you are able to reach it? Distinguishing facts and comments. It is said that facts are sacred, opinions are free. On many occasions, people present opinions as facts, and that's why you are going to find some people on television ranting, because we know, just as the former governor of Adedimeji said, no, don't let him, you know where you are. And then he was also challenging the challenger. And I put it on my Facebook page that the hunter became a hunted. Accountability. There must be accountability. There must be accountability. There seems to be no accountability in the way journalism is practiced. And I remember that one veteran, Pategi, had to be complaining that if people